Hello.
Hello!
Welcome to the Talking Simulator. I am Cameron, and we're in person again.
Ugh. Okay. Alright. We're continuing the life and suffering of Sir Brante.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy Billiam.
Yeah.
He's gonna make it
Billiam
all
Brante.
the way.
Billiam Brante is going to continue to sacrifice his own happiness and well-being for
Staying
others.
alive.
Staying alive. We're absolutely going to stay alive this time because we're kind of down to our last life. We've been maybe a little cavalier with people, and
typically
mm-hmm.
when my grandfather burns my toy soldiers in the fireplace, I don't intervene and thus didn't expect him to just beat us to death.
Yeah.
And getting in the way of an imperial horse carriage.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably going to be fine.
It's probably going to be fine.
I mean, how many times can you look at a small child playing in the road or falling as she crosses the street as an imperial horse carriage rounds the corner at, like...
Mach speed.
Yeah, Mach speed, and just think, sucks to suck.
Quite often.
Yeah,
that's it. We just haven't been callous enough.
Yeah, I think we need to harden our heart, and then we'll be good. We'll be good. It'll just be good. It'll be all good, and we're gonna make it through this. All right. I think we're gonna be emperor, honestly.
Whoa.
We're gonna make it all the way. Sir Billiam Brante is going to, just wind up coming out on top of this. I think this is a system that we can work within.
Yes.
And we're gonna fix things.
We're gonna make it all good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good, chat.
Yeah. I don't think there's gonna be any problem at all with us riding this python all the way to Valhalla.
My anaconda does want some.
We're going to die, aren't we?
Yep.
And we're going to kill a lot of people on our way out the door.
A little bit.
Well, if it's all foretold, then.
As was written.
Billiam.
We're 12 years old. A ripe time to be alive.
Yeah, just nothing but joy for us. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house, but before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tybor's School for the Children of Noblemen and Well-Off Commoners.
That should be all capitalized.
Yeah. STS CN WAF.
It's a great school.
Knobwalk.
Surely no magic or time and space mischief will happen at this school. It's far too boring.
Stisic Nwalk.
Stissensnwalk. Old Stissensnwalk.
Hey, come in here. Sing Old Harvard for me. That was Simpsons, right? Where he gets one of the writers to come in and start singing Old Harvard, and he throws a coffee mug into his mouth.
Perfect. Have we played Procession to Calvary? No.
You share the news with your best friend, Thomas. Sir Tiber's school, huh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based in an ancient estate of Archnean design. The classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject.
Ooh, they've got an open layout.
Ugh. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You have already told him twice about how Magra joined the Empire and how the Nobles' Court of Honor is different from the Commoners' Civil Court in the city prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it is time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it is time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind, for you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You have only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in your room. It is already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought on your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who live next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books to rescue the friend in need.
Our fort!
But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay, Billiam? Is there anything I can do to help? Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other. But Thomas and your fort are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? You grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door, trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. Will you accept his help? Sucks to suck.
The correct choice.
Sucks to suck, everyone else. Sorry, not sorry. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Soon your eyes start to hurt from all the legal terms and chronologies and titles of imperial edicts. You repeat everything, every single line of it, until your head hurts and your vision begins to blur. When Father walks in, he chuckles in approval. You fall asleep right there, amidst the books. The morning comes. You barely have the time to wake up before you are walking to the menacing edifice of the school. Time for law! All the students sit tight, glued to their benches in terror. The teacher's voice singles you out. If a commoner insults a nobleman's honor, how ought he to be dealt with according to imperial law? Bring the commoner to the prefecture, where the judges will sentence him to corporal punishment. What if a noble takes a commoner's life by negligence or whim? The noble is fined by the provincial authorities. Surprising even yourself, you give the correct answer to these questions and many more that follow. The next subject is the history of the blessed Archean Empire. You masterfully recount the history of every province as they merged with the empire, from Monia to Magra. Then you recite the names of every tempest who has ruled the empire. You conquer every question the teacher asks you without confusing a single date.
Nailed it.
Rote memorization.
We're so smart.
We're going to be such a great judge, just like our dad. You get the highest grade in law and history and an average grade in theology. You relay the teacher's praise to Father over dinner. He smiles, pleased with you. Well done, my son. I can see how hard you have been working. Keep at it and you will be among the Empire's greatest servants. I am proud of you.
We've maxed out our father.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We are now honorable. Your education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to realize that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Arcanian gentry.
Nothing must have happened with the fort.
Nothing
Thomas
happened.
disappeared
It's fine.
that night.
Yeah, we haven't seen him. I guess he's fine. Don't know what could have happened to him. And our little brother?
He's probably still quietly standing outside of our door.
Yeah, exactly. You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner, as he always does. And what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Billiam? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning it is passed down from father to son. After the Arcanians, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the Empire. They own land and estates, they fill offices of the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. Slight red pen issue.
A little bit.
And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond. Sir Augustin L. Bourne, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. And what about the Arcanians and their status? What have you learned about them? The Arcanians stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Arcanian tells you and never defy them. Ever. And what about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. This title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the Empire and the Legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will own a noble title too, son, all in due time.
As long as we continue to regurgitate all the information.
Yeah. Sir Tiber's school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons here. And every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diedrich, the son of a secretary for the imperial chancellery and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Diedrich and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again, you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again, Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It is early morning. The students are busy flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is the work of Diedrich and his entourage. You hear his familiar, creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fists. You're dead, Diedrich. He throws himself at Diedrich's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they have expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Diedrich sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Diedrich readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with the commoners, he asks. Your father is a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diedrich haughtily extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. Duel! 1v1 me.
Looks like no downside.
Yeah, this can only end well.
Narc.
Narc.
Still good. Still good for us.
We can work within the system. I mean, we can be weak. Or
New best friends.
we can make money. Oh, our father will approve.
Yeah, but we've already got him maxed.
So I think it's
punching him in the face is the correct and only answer.
1v1 me. 1v1 me.
Meet
There
me at
must-
4-post.
Yeah. Yeah. Parking lot behind the school, 3 o'clock.
And if you're not there, you're a coward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned how to duel, right?
I think we got in trouble for touching a sword once.
for touching a sword twice.
Ooh.
This is gonna work great.
Yep. Let's do it.
You do not shake his hand. Instead, you challenge Diedrich to display at least some dignity by fighting you one-on-one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Diedrich's face grows serious. There's no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Diedrich makes a sign and Thomas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back on his feet, cursing and itching to rush at them again, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time, and everyone immediately returns to their seats. A day full of lessons begins. You keep daydreaming of Diedrich's face and how you're going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Let's catch that bastard together and clean his clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made, you tell your friend. This is a matter of your honor now. Thomas huffs angrily, but agrees. Diedrich is already waiting for you in a narrow back street by the school, his retinue by his side. You walk forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way.
Dance battle.
Yeah. If you win this battle, Diedrich and other children of nobles will never pick on the commoner's sons again. If he wins, you will never stand in their way and protect other students. You will fight him one-on-one. Alright, I assume this is going to be kind of like, I don't know, Marvel versus Capcom a bit?
A little bit.
Okay, forward circle B.
Pocket
Forward
sand.
circle B. Forward circle B. Diedrich walks forward uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fists in a fighting stance. Diedrich tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Diedrich does manage to land several glancing blows, but he is fighting a losing battle. He has never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. You have learned a lot from him. It does not take long for Diedrich to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. You have won. Woo! You turn to the other nobleman's sons with a victorious look on your face. No more teasing. And if anyone says so much as one bad word about Thomas, they'll pay. Yes! We rule! No downsides. No downsides.
Might of the fist!
Look at that. The entire year passed. Diedrich didn't even narc on us. I assumed he was going to be a weenus about this.
He gets our lunch now.
Hmm.
We make him go fetch things.
Yeah. Your theology teachers tell you more about Anazot. It is more than just the provincial capital. It is also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you have never approached the trunk of the tree yourself. Today you will be taking your first trip to the silver tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everybody is excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anazot. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers, and preachers. The people of this district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace, your teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy.
Not sure I trust a tree with a beating heart.
Yeah. It's some kind of meat tree. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems to be a part of it. There is a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments amongst some people who are gathered in small separate groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and the calm emanating from it. You are filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver-white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path. It should take you right next to the trunk. A tall, red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a worn white robe. She is no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Matilda, a preacher from Estinia. What she says next to you shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teachings of the twins, she says, yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will find only the lies about the lots, the erring words of prophet Isaiah sanctified by the passage of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows that they will never so much as mention the lots. Heresy? The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have heard from Mother, everything you have been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilda, or ask her for more information? Or should you treat her as a madwoman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She's just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief with only a single golden lock showing. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. There's just a bit of color on her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to you quickly. Don't listen to her, she's dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. You stand there, surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sounds of shuffling feet, torn between two people you have never seen before. Each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispering of the wind in the tree's branches. If the branches reach out to you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice?
So you go for a field trip to this big tree, and then two ladies grab one of your arms and start...
No, one of them is screaming heresy, the other one's screaming orthodoxy. Oh, it's too bad we don't have... Oh, we aren't...
We didn't get the ant insight.
We didn't get the ant insight.
But let's go inside, I guess.
Shall we?
Girl?
Or the pilgrim? Matters of the heart.
You know what that means.
But
we're 13. It's time for us to find a life mate.
Or do we just...
Free willpower, hello.
Yeah, do we just ignore it all? Like, yeah,
I'm gonna get back to the tour.
Yeah, exactly. We're just like, sorry, I don't carry any cash. And, like, blow them both off.
Yeah.
Yeah, negative willpower.
Then we'll just do whatever anyone else says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, no cash. No cash.
I'm gonna go talk to this tree.
The tree is beautiful. The silver-white foliage stretches and spreads towards the sky, held aloft by a trunk so thick it would be a challenge to walk around it. The leaves rustle and whisper peacefully in the wind. The tree, it seems to speak to you. You walk away from the odd-looking preacher and the young acolyte, ignoring them as they call out to you. You walk around the temple in the crowd of people, getting closer to the tree with every step. Then you extend a shaking hand and touch the bark. It is unusually warm. You can feel a pulse beneath the roots. The tree is alive. Yeah, it's a tree. They do that.
Uh-huh.
The roots are so gigantic they form large grottos, spaces of air embraced by the roots in the ground. You squeeze into one of these grottos. It is unusually bright and quiet, shielded from the noise of Anazot. Right now, there is only you in the tree. You sit down. There are leaves rustling all around you. The only noise you hear is the beating of pulse of life that flows through the tree. And this pulse beats in time with your own heart. You feel clarity and calmness, free of doubt and frustration. The tree speaks to you. Or are they your own thoughts, so strange, unfamiliar, and eye-opening? These thoughts speak of soothing love and of crystal-clear law, and of love and law intertwining to bring the miracle of life to you. You stop slouching, and your frown becomes a light smile.
This tree fixed my posture.
Hours pass like fleeting seconds. You lose track of time until you overhear someone shouting your name. Alas, it is time to leave this grotto. The sun is setting over Anazot now. The day was quick to pass. Your teacher frowns, ready to scold you. You mumble an explanation and say you are ready to be punished for disobedience, yet instead, the teacher nods in understanding. You keep looking back at the tree all the way home. Whatever happened to you today, you find it difficult to put into words. Another day at school has ended. You are making your way home, still mulling over the things you learned from your teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teachers talk about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Excuse me? Son, could you put your things away and come and pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater destiny in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her, just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Billiam.
My son.
My
sweet Billiam.
Oh my god. You are 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It is time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It is about your father and me, and our marriage. You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. I'm sure you wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child?
Uh-huh.
But you see, Billiam, your father, when his first wife Amalia Elborn died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honored by his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the streets with that little baby girl in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honor, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believe that, at the very moment, the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me that there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honor and reputation would suffer, but caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others, but his decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumors we heard about the Brantes all over Anazot. It was only... Brantes? Where did that come from? Brants.
Welcome, Raiders. We're getting the talk from our mother.
Yes. So you see, when a nobleman meets a commoner, it was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brant bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation, and now the noble families have all but forgotten about that scandal, thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brant. Even if the elder Brants agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. And if that were to happen, Billiam, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you now is something you have to know, son. You are about to enter adult life. By my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family. But may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister?
Good question. Next question.
Jesus. evade the question. Huh.
Huh. Well, surely there's no downsides to just being like, oh, she's our sister. We love sister.
Yeah, surely there is none.
Surely.
Yeah.
This won't bite us in the ass later.
We haven't really talked to her in about 10 years, but sure.
I forget what she looks like.
Yeah. I mean, this has the best numbers.
Mm-hmm. That's what we want.
Yeah, all the numbers go up. I'm sure there's no downside to this whatsoever.
Exactly.
Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and always will be your sister. We don't have to honor this either.
No.
Mother's just a commoner.
We can probably change our mind later.
Yeah, and if worse comes to worse, we can just tell people she lied.
True.
And then it'll
all come out in the wash.
Yep. You want Gloria to be a Brant too. You want her to be part of the family. Who cares what the nobles of Anazot say? Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Billiam, if only you knew how happy that would make me, to have our family united at last. However, the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, a home, an education, his care and advice. The Brant bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Just then, you hear Gloria knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Billiam. I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brant family they have given her. You hope they can hear her.
Moms, always be praying.
Yeah. And hey, Chad is absolutely correct. We're 13. Our mother can't expect we cannot legally enter a binding agreement.
Nope.
Honestly, this is kind of unfair of her to ask.
Also, we're currently a commoner anyways, so
Yeah,
we can't even.
Yeah, no,
No.
nothing about this is legally binding in any way, and I'm pretty sure we can get out of this. Our mother is sympathetic towards us.
How lovely! Maybe she'll intercede on our behalf.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine your mother is just like, yeah, they're fine. Little William's fine. It's Billiam. Really? No shit. You are 13 now. Another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priests and why the clergy is only one of the 3 estates with the right to interpret the lots and guide the other 2 estates accordingly. Thomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. But you've heard all this from Mother many times before, so you take this moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete.
Just imagining Thomas, words, lots, priests, clerics.
Yeah. Thomas is just like furiously writing down, and we look over, and it's just the lyrics to Metallica's "Nothing Else Matters."
Right?
I remember high school. But the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice at one of your classmates. A boy by the name of Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he had just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone's about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. You watch the teacher's iron-bound book as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. A sudden flash! The teacher screams and buries his face in his arms. His hair is ablaze and his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic! Real magic, just like in the books about the Magra Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There's a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertip. There are screams now. Students run for the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his fingers and the books of Isacius on the desk turn into pillars of flame. He laughs and raises his arms and the curtains catch fire. The screams grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames and his whole body is shaking with laughter. He steps towards the door. You and Thomas glance at each other. He's gonna burn the whole school down! Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor. Even through his clothes, his body sears your flesh. Brian screams, convulses, and grabs Thomas by the shoulders with his burning hands. Thomas howls but stays put, then knocks Brian senseless with several fierce blows to the head. This is not the side I expected us to take. Oh no. There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Thomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor, silent. Soon 3 men in black cloaks enter the doors of the school, each bearing an edict sealed with silver, the Inquisition. You and Thomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains. The ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us all from its evil grasp. The next day you are forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He is no more. So, no reward?
No. It's just, every day this happens. It's just giving us a glimpse into inner life at school.
A great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest was anointed to rule over the Empire. Blessed by the twins themselves, the Emperor's reign continues into its 2nd century. Celebrations in honor of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. On one of those evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather is going to bring Stefan back home for the holiday. They say families should celebrate the day of anointment together. You could benefit from your elder brother's company. With his noble education, Stefan might be able to teach you how noblemen are supposed to act. Soon, Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Gloria, he is still Grandfather's double, but he is more grown up now and far less haughty to you. It is a dark winter evening. A cold, damp wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands of Magra. You and Stefan are sitting in the library. He is telling you all about Eterna, the capital of the Empire, and it's full of so many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twins, the Military Academy, the Imperial College. You've read so much about these places, yet he has seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I looked everywhere. She's not in the attic, not in the sitting room, not in the kitchen. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Char Melanidus' palace. She could be lost in there. You and Stefan exchange looks. Char Melanidus, the rebellious duke? The ruins of his palace are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means you absolutely have to make your way there and back again to prove you are not afraid of the long-dead witch. Yeah. Hell yeah, this is an adventure. Your brother tells you to wait. He leaves and soon returns with a sword in his sheath. Yes. Get ready, Billiam. We're going to rescue Gloria. She must have gone to the ruins in search of inspiration for another one of her little rhymes. The two of you instruct Nathan to tell your parents you've gone for a walk in the square. You and your elder brother head outside. You are confused by Stefan's actions. He refuses to treat Gloria like a human being, so why is he still so determined to rescue her? Stefan notices your expression. Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honor compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brant, but Father still took her into our house. I must respect his seniority and defend Gloria like she's one of our own. You are a Brant too, noble or not, which means it is your duty to aid me. The ruins of Char Melanidus' palace span an entire district. The palace was abandoned centuries ago and its remnants are overgrown with thick underbrush. The ruined palace is empty, nothing but cold wind blowing over crumbling brickwork. Even the worst scum of the land steer clear of this place. You make your way through the ruins until you spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing.
Oh
Your
no!
sister's writing. You hear loud laughter coming from behind a dilapidated stone wall nearby. You pull yourself up to peer over it. Gloria is landing on the ground, face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunk young thugs surround her, cackling and swinging their arms about. You hear their shouts. Look at the lass sitting here rhyming words together. She thinks she's all noble, but don't you worry, you low-born tart. We're going to teach you your place. One of the louts spits at Gloria as she lies there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but soon they notice that he is only one armed man against many. They start reaching out for sticks and stones. Stay by my side. Don't let them flank me. Stefan's hand shakes, but he looks ready for battle. He is outnumbered. For a moment, you hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run for the nearby district and call for guards. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching you and Stefan cautiously.
It's his fault for being a dick.
Yeah.
That seems fine.
Yeah.
Get a big rock.
Look, we have kicked the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
We beat up Thomas, our good friend. We beat up...
That Diedrich guy?
Yeah, the Diedrich guy who
Yeah.
turned out to be a giant weenus.
And we helped our friend Thomas punch Brian in the head until he fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, we held down that other kid.
Yeah. Oh, and we shoved our little brother a few times.
Yeah. And our little brother's pretty big, even though, you know, he's got the extremely sharp cheekbones of a sickly child.
Yep.
And he's probably just gonna he's gonna croak. The louts try to flank Stefan and surround him. Your brother's sword thrusts and feints methodically, like in a training bout. The thugs keep dodging and jumping away. They've managed to stay safe so far. If things continue like this, soon one of them will flank Stefan, kick the sword out of his hand, and bring him down. The ruffians are paying no attention to you, however. For a moment, you want nothing more than to run away. You belong to the common lot. You are not allowed to bear arms, not allowed to fight. But then you take one more look at Stefan, who is almost surrounded, and at Gloria, sprawled out on the ground. I can't act in any other way, can I? Your brother's words ring in your ears. You cannot run. You have to help him, no matter what. You pull a heavy rock out of the old wall. The tow-headed leader of the gang appears behind Stefan's back, ready to knock him down. No time to think. It takes you 3 steps to get to the foe. No time to think. You bash the thug in the head with a rock. The wretch stumbles and falls down. Stefan seizes the opportunity to strike and lunges at the louts. They scatter under his blows. You hear screams and the swishing of the sword. You assault them too, swinging away with the heavy rock, until you catch something pointy in the side.
Oh, my side!
A wave of pain washes over you. Blood starts flowing down your side and onto your leg. Stefan shouts something, but your mind is already fading fast. When the darkness disperses, you find yourself lying in your bed. Stefan is in the armchair next to you, reading a book. He is alive, with left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. As for you, it hurts so much when you try to breathe. You cannot help but moan quietly. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up. You lost a lot of blood. Fortunately, the Archduke's guards got there too late to see you swinging that boulder around. They'd have shown you no mercy otherwise. But I'm impressed, Billiam. You were unarmed, but still you fought them. You acted in defiance of your lot, that much is certain, but you fought for our family's honor. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage, not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes a part of his family's legacy, flowing in the blood tide forever. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak. A noble mustn't suffer like people of the lowborn lot. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot you have to look after. You have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lot as well. There are so many more matters to take care of. Honor, dignity, tradition, honor. It's tough, but it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? For the first time in a long while, your brother looks at you as an equal. It was a pleasure to fight by your side. I'm glad you and I are brothers.
Ish.
You and I are brothers in a technical sense. Certainly not by station or by reputation. Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of lowborn thugs assaulted Stephen Brante. Your grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as lesser death releases them. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favorite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of your family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and Grandfather decide to stay in Anazot until the trial ends. Grandfather demands a true death for every single assailant. You ask Father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? Your words are true, my son. Their law is second to none. Yet the twin gods also made the empire and its ways. The court of law exists to execute the laws of heaven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born nobleman, have committed a grave offense. There is no doubt about that. Yet, according to the Emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they are about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court. Evening comes. Gloria visits your room. She looks crestfallen and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. You put away your school books and ask what is bothering her. The trial is tomorrow. I thought I was going to appear there too as an eyewitness. After all, this whole mess started because of me, but Sir Robert isn't even going to mention I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me. Nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist. And I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I will become part of the family. But no, everything is back to usual now.
As it should be.
Gloria tries her best to hold back the tears. You do your best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble. If Sir Robert believes that only I bring trouble, why did he took me into the house at all? Oh, Gloria, sweetie, take. Why did he take me into the house
She's really
at all?
good at rhyming words, but not so much at speaking them, okay?
Sweetie, close your mouth when you breathe. Gloria runs away. You return to your books, but you can't help but get lost in thought. What if they told the court you weren't there either? How would you feel then? There's a knock at the door. It is Father. He closes the door behind him and sits next to you. There is an exhausted look about him. Son, you will be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I'm about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. You went there with your brother to inspect this historic site. The lowborn men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailants on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If we mention her very existence to the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. Your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We are all counting on you.
He didn't explicitly say we shouldn't talk about the giant rock.
Yeah, we're not going to lie. Explicitly. You recall the night of the fight like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those cackling thugs, her poetry, her greatest treasure, scattered on the ground. She thinks she's all noble. Those were the words they spat down at her. But doesn't Grandfather mean the same thing when he denies that she is part of the family? But if you do what Father tells you, the trial will end quickly. Those commoners will face true death for assaulting a noble. If you mention Gloria, things will get complicated and you cannot predict how the trial will end. Which is more important to you, what is right or what is just?
Ooh. Ooh. Grandpa sucks.
Yeah. I kind of like this one. More nobility, for one thing.
Yeah.
More spirituality.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had visions.
I mean, the reputation ticks down, but unity doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. And our reputation is already reasonable.
Yeah. Okay, Dad, but what if we didn't do what you said? What if Gloria was there?
Yeah. What if, and this is a big what if, But what if we tell the truth and Grandpa can deal with it?
Yeah.
You look Father straight in the eye and tell him what you think. You are not going to bear false witness in court. He is a judge himself, so how can he make you lie to Sir Elborn? And what of Gloria? Is she not a Brante too? Does she not deserve justice? Or maybe Grandfather is right and she is just a freeloader who deserves nothing but shame. If so, then how come Father agreed to take her into his home and under his protection?
Justice for Gloria!
Saying this to Father is tough. Deep inside, you pray he hears no weakness in your voice and sees no blood rushing to your cheeks. But it seems he is listening to you intently. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper as his fingers stammer out a staccato against the armrest. This is going to be tough, son, but you're right. You are right. I took Gloria into my home, and so I must protect her like my own daughter. This was my decision, and I must stand by it. I will speak with Stefan in the morning. Now I pray your grandfather never hears of my change of heart. He's going to hear about it. He's going to hear about it. The day comes. The trial takes place in the lesser hall of the city prefecture. Sir Elborn himself presides as the judge. You are the first to testify to the court.
So I grabbed a big rock, okay?
And I just fucking smoked this guy. You tell the court the truth about that night, how the thugs humiliated Gloria, how Stefan and you came to help her, and how Stefan defended his half-sister. Out of the corner of your eye, you watch Grandfather's face grow red, yet he remains silent. There are confused whispers in the hall. The commoners on trial cry out. It's the truth. Gloria was reciting poetry, and they simply told her she was defying her lot. The situation has changed. By this account, Stefan was not acting in defense of himself or another. He merely assaulted them first in order to retaliate against those who insulted his half-sister. You spread your feet to stand firm and inhale before you speak next. You ask the hall, is it not a nobleman's duty to honor his family name? Gloria does not have the Brante name, but your father took her into his home. Therefore, it was Stefan's duty to protect her, as he would have protected any of you. Contemptuous chuckles rush through the courtroom. You have just reminded the city of Father's shameful second lesson.
It was pretty funny when he got married again.
Stefan is to testify next. He reluctantly confirms your testimony, glancing at Father and Grandfather all the while. His arm in the sling is his main argument. Stefan wanted the commoners to stop insulting Gloria, yet in the end the commoners were the first to assault him. After a short recess, Sir Elborn returns and rises to deliver his sentence. The court of Anazot finds you guilty of assaulting Stefan Elbrant, a nobleman who stood in defense of the honor of Gloria and were a member of his household. All 4 defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging. There is no wind, but you feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale. Their mothers are bawling and crying. Everyone in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it is stern and just. That very power has been invoked by this sentence, and by that very sentence the lives of the 4 young men are literally forfeit, for all eternity. The gallows await. Stefan stands in the front row. Father stands next to him. The wood creaks. The trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and reaching out for support with their feet in the final moments. Grandfather's silence ends at home. He screams at you and Father, at Stefan and Gloria. This trial is a disgrace. His screams are punctuated by the thudding of his walking stick against the floor. Father says they had to defend their family. It would have been truly a disgrace if they had shirked their responsibilities. Stefan excuses himself to bandage his arm in order to stay out of the argument. Gloria is quiet, but glowing. You stay quiet too. It is all over now.
Hey, Grandpa, I gotta go wrap this arm.
Yeah.
You know? So I'd stay, but
I gotta go bandage this, otherwise I'm gonna get a badass scar.
Yeah.
It is all over now. Nobody bullies Gloria on the streets anymore. The 4 commoners are dead forever. Their families were taught a cruel lesson, so it will be with anyone who dares to raise a hand against a nobleman. It is all over now. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Same thing. Actually, it is time for a break.
It is. So,
yeah, as chat points out, positive KDA. We have a 2-to-1 KDA now.
what is our status? Look at us.
Yeah.
We're doing so. Ignore those. We're doing so well.
Yeah.
We're just a schoolboy out here, 13 years old,
Yep.
with our best friend Rocky, who we take with us everywhere. We drew a little face.
Yep. Rocky hates heads. Do you have a head?
Rocky don't like that.
Yeah. Rocky has thoughts about that. See you soon.
We're back.
We are. And I have a treat.
I have water.
It is an almond slice and it's got a tiny little flower on it, which means I'm special.
Well, time to go get more water.
So what do we think so far? I see chat is debating the merits of our argument that now we have a positive KDA. Because I suppose technically, while we have died, we have respawned. Whereas we made those four, our testimony made those 4 commoners, like, uninstall.
Yeah, it's more like we have a limited clone pool, right? So yeah, I think eliminating the enemy spawns does count as a kill, right?
Okay, yeah. Good point.
But it's not even like we killed them. It's like we got the admins to delete them. They got blacklisted from the game.
Yeah, we got them IP banned.
Yeah. So that, in its way, is a greater victory.
Really, honestly. I wonder what our character is.
Billiam?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of person he is? He throws tantrums, I guess, sometimes. He goes along with whatever his friends say. He
kicks a lot of ass.
kicks a lot of ass, isn't a big fan of his little brother, not a great fan of his older brother. Thinks that his sister exists, which is a bold take in this day and age.
Yeah, we're kind of a toady.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, we've had some big rebellious moments, like grabbing the sword during our thing. But at the same time, it's like, we've been raised in this world. Why would we think there's anything weird about it? Why would we be like, oh, I disagree with the status quo?
Can we even imagine something outside of the status quo?
I mean, like, having a rebellious sister who does poetry is probably the most out of left field influence on us. Like, maybe because she's doing something impossible, we can now imagine a world where she's allowed to do that. But I think, like, right now, it's more like we're trying to get into a good university, right? Like, we're 13 and we've got to be planning for our SATs.
Yeah, we have to get into... We need good grades in grade 9 so that we can get into honors classes in grade 10, so that we can get into AP classes.
Yep.
And then so we can do IB classes.
Yep. So that we can grow up to be a judge just like our father, and then we get the mantle, and then it's good for our whole family.
Yeah.
We just have to stay away from Grandpa.
Who is, apart from a large team of horses and a cart, so far the only entity we've encountered in this universe whose ass we cannot kick. But we feel his time is coming.
Like, what's the average lifespan of a grandfather? Like, it's 5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stories don't even have parents. Like, come on. Bully in the streets.
Forbidden love. Another day of school is behind you. You are now wandering your district, taking your time before going home. It is getting dark. Soon you are walking past the splendid mansions of the Count El Velasco, one of Magra's richest overlords. You hear a familiar voice from the other side of the iron fence. It is Stefan's voice. It is followed by the sound of a young lady laughing.
Oh no.
You peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden, and indeed, there you see your elder brother dressed like he is going to meet the Emperor himself. He is currently busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. She locks him in an emotional embrace. You recognize her, Maria El Velasco, Count El Velasco's daughter. As the whole city knows, she is already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family.
Canoodling!
Oh, Maria.
Oh, Maria, I thought I would help you come down to earth from your heavenly abode. Your very touch brings me to the heavens.
Is he reading this off his palm?
Yes. Yeah, this is a Cicero sort of situation. Nathan's gonna be like crouched in a bush nearby whispering.
Yeah. Or, not Cicero, Cyrano.
Sorry.
I kind of want to see the Peter Dinklage version of that. I've heard it's
Yes? Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
good. He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs almost imperceptibly and kisses him on the cheek, but then Stefan takes her by the chin and turns her to face him. Their lips join in a kiss. Oh, fuck. A flurry of emotion watches over you as you watch it happen. Stefan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk. Acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brants. Oh no, I'm a Brant! And yet Stefan always speaks so highly of noble bearing and composure and family honor. Stefan's face is glowing with joy. Your older brother, he is happy.
Weird.
Truly happy. You have never seen Stefan like this, as his arms hold the Count's daughter in a tender embrace, so gently as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings. Must you really rob them of their sacred joy? If you ever speak to him about this, no one else must hear it. You wait by the gate patiently until Stefan decides to return from his escapades. He is startled when he finally notices you standing by the gate.
It was only 5 minutes. That doesn't help our relationship, but it gives us points and makes us a better person.
Yeah. Wait, if we aid Stefan is currently Grandpa's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But what if we play him into the corner pocket like a complete fool, and then we get to be Grandpa's favorite?
And then Grandpa won't kill us again.
Yeah. And he did help Gloria.
I see no downside.
Yeah. What are you doing here at this late hour, Billiam? Is there something you wish to tell me? You confess to Stefan that you saw him today in the El Velasco garden with the Count's daughter. This affair puts both families' honors at risk, yet you say you are happy for him. You can see how much he cares for her. No matter what, it is worth the risk. Stefan can trust you with this secret, you assure him. The two of you will keep it together. Totally. Stefan reacts to you with anger at first, but your supportive words calm him down. You've got all the makings of a professional spy. But you're right, the risk is too great. Your aid will not go amiss. You are no nobleman yet, but I hope your word is worth my trust. From that day on, you help Stefan and Maria avoid attention on many occasions. You even have to distract El Velasco's manservants and lead them away on a wild goose chase through the district. In the end, you are never caught, and you earn your brother yet another night with his beloved. They are both aware that the days of their hidden love are numbered. But how will your escapades affect the family's reputation? You and your brother agree. Whatever happens, happens. Young love is worth the risk. Totally. Absolutely.
Just imagining some like real Looney Tunes hijinks.
Yep. I like how that was elided. We didn't need to play that all out, right? There were hijinks.
Mm-hmm.
You find out about your elder brother's forbidden love.
My love is so forbidden. Soon we will be a man. A Joni.
Stefan leaves soon after the trial, alone. Grandfather does not go with him. For the first time in a long while, he lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Father says Sir Gregor is ill and needs rest. Several months go by, and it becomes clear that Grandfather will not recover. Oh.
Pity.
The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now. On some days he has trouble recognizing people. When he means to address you or Nathan, he calls you Robert, your father's name. But when he does get out of bed, the house grows empty. The servants hide. Mother locks herself in her chambers. You and Nathan run outside or hide quietly in your rooms. If Grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins lamenting. Oh, nobody heeds the lots any longer. Any harlot with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him, let him down. Oh, how the bronze them arms on. Again and again you hear Grandfather knocking at Mother's door, screaming that it is all her fault. He blames her for ruining his chance to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for doing himself to suffer at the foot of the pillar. You overhear your parents talking one night. Mother begs Father to move Sir Gregor to his old home and spare his children his decline. Father refuses her outright.
Hey, about your dad. You know, he needs more care than he can get at home here.
Yeah, we should put him in...
his own house.
Yeah, his own house. And then he can starve to death or fall down the stairs. Or maybe set it on fire with a lantern. Or maybe he shits the bed with a light on and drowns. It is late at night. The hot, dry winds are coming. The house is empty save for you, Nathan, Gloria, Mother, and Grandfather in his bed. Father has left for the capital on business. You are engrossed in the history of the Empire, snapping out of your reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. You blow out the candle and get ready for bed. You hear the shuffling of heavy feet outside your door. You see light in the hallway. Grandfather, what could he want in the middle of the night?
Ignore it, don't look.
You peek into the hallway once he has passed. Grandfather's figure sways as he heads for the door to Mother's chambers. He opens the door and walks in. You hear him say something quietly. Your unease is stronger than your fear now. You sneak closer to hear his words. You foul commoner, I need you to have cleansed my sins. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin, you and what you have done to Robert and this family. I should put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh, why didn't I do it? Please, Sir Brante, I beg of you. Silence, you will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all low-born filth from this place. Fire, and flame will free Robert from this disgrace. This is for my son's sake, for my son's sake, for my sake. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they are calling to me now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I beg of you, please have mercy. Mother begins to cry. You run into the room, unable to stay out of this any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his hand. Mother is sprawled out on the bed, crying. Please, sir, just let me warn the children. I beg of you, Sir Brante. Your steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns to look at you. Stay out of this, Billiam. Be useful for once. Worldly concerns matter me no longer.
I see only sins now, and sinner twins. Ugh. Get out of here.
Go away. Mother is crying. Grandfather is still looming over the bed, driven to madness. His hand shakes as it clutches the oil lamp. His eyes shine in the dark. He truly believes this has to be done. You are suddenly torn. What if he is right? What if that is the only way for his soul to find salvation? There is no going back now. You have but a moment to act. Stop, grandfather.
But what if let it all happen as grandfather wishes?
Oh, look at all the stats.
It's only one more death.
Hey, and Father Gregor will like us more.
Well, he'll be super dead.
But he'll like us more.
That doesn't even say our mom dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens if we stop him?
Oh my
everything's
God.
fine.
Wealth goes down in both of these. We must save the money.
For the good of all of us.
Grandfather, think of the money. You look at Grandfather defiantly and step towards him. He stares you down with rage and throws the oil lamp at the floor. You manage to catch it, but barely. Several drops of hot oil hit the rug, not nearly enough to start a fire. The lamp's glass is blisteringly hot. It burns your hands, but you still hold on to it safely. You low-born scum. You ruined everything. You're every bit like your mother. Enraged, he takes a swing and you squeeze your eyes shut. But he does not hit you. Instead, there is a deep exhalation. You peek at him with one eye, just in time to see him collapse, all his strength fading away. His chest is heaving, his face a grimace of contempt. Another heavy exhalation. The contempt is gone. There is only fear now. Grandfather's eyes open wide, almost in surprise. He exhales. His eyes grow dim. Mother is there, whispering a prayer. She is shaking violently. You put the oil lamp gently on the bedside table and call for the servants. They carry the body away. It does not disappear. True death has found him. He will never return.
She's prayed him to death.
Not bad. Power word kill. You spend the rest of the night with Mother in the sitting room. She will not let go of your hand. For many, many nights afterwards, she keeps seeing Grandfather's shadow out of the corner of her eye. Father returns from Eterna the morning after. He is unusually composed as he arranges for the funeral. The house becomes quiet, not the looming heavy sort of quiet in the past few months, but the calm relief you all feel now that the crazed old man is no more. At last, Gregor Brante, the family's patriarch, has departed for the hereafter. Rest in piss.
Hey!
Look at us, we're so fucking noble.
And enterprising.
Yeah.
And ready for action.
Your grandfather, Sir Gregor Brant, left this world forever to meet the twin gods. The night of Grandfather's death shook your family to the core. Yet no matter how it happened, your grandfather Gregor Brant is dead and will never return. He was a fearful shadow looming over the rest of the family, the Brant patriarch exerting his influence on all the lives below him, and all of you will remember him forever. Father is the new patriarch of the family now, yet he still cannot bring himself to sit at the head of the table where Sir Gregor used to preside. Stefan locks himself away in Grandfather's bedroom every day. He will not talk to anyone. Gloria and Nathan still jump at every sound that so much as resembles the knocking of his walking stick. Mother spends all day in prayer at the temple. And yet the house has become calm and quiet with his passing. But there is one more thing that must be done, the final farewell. It weighs heavily upon your soul. The day comes to pay your final respects. Father goes to the tomb alone, save for Stefan, Nathan, and you. Mother and Gloria stay at home. Only nobles or those who may become nobles may join this ritual. There is a solemn silence as you walk to the crypt. Father is the one who breaks the silence when you finally reach the door of the family crypt. Your grandfather built this crypt, and now he will be the first Brant to remain here in body forever, the first ever noble in our family. It is our duty now to hold the sacrament of flowing blood for Sir Gregor. We will honor his legacy and join him as the founder of the noble Brante dynasty. Stefan perks up at father's words. His hands still clutch grandfather's sword. Tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks even more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone lead you downward. Deep in the gloom of the crypt, atop a pedestal, you see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects. Gregor Brante, my father, brought our family into nobility through his unshakable will. He was a judge and a loyal servant to the Empire. He lived his life as if he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path he had chosen. He sought to make the Brante family ennobled by the sword so that our children's children might be of noble birth. The twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time. Father lets off a bitter chuckle as he says this. Stefan glares at father, then turns to glare at Nathan and you. After all, the two of you were born of father's shameful decision to marry a commoner. All of you remember his disastrous passing. He did not die the true death he deserved, yet we must all know that he fought for the future he believed in to the very end, and he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with the sacrament of the nobility.
Would he?
Would he, though?
He tried to burn the money.
Yeah, we had to protect the money. Stefan still glares at father sullenly. His fingers remain clutched around grandfather's sword. Nathan barely pays attention to the words. He looks around with unease, his arms folded across his chest. Father reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slender dagger, thin and sharp. He takes off his gloves. Watch me carefully, my sons. Make a small cut on the palm of your hand and let your blood flow into this duct on the wall of the crypt. It will join your grandfather's blood here and flow forever. Then ancestor and progeny will become as one. We shall enter our family's blood tide and receive grandfather's final blessing, for as blood flows first in our blood tide, he will respond to you. You are a part of him, and he is a part of you. With a quick motion, father slices his hand and holds the bleeding cut above a small opening in the wall. Then he hands the dagger to Stefan. Stefan cuts his hand without hesitation and does as father did. You receive the dagger next. The dagger's handle feels warm. You hesitate for a moment as you look at the palm of your hand.
It's like a toilet seat after someone else has just used it.
Yeah. Are we a changeling? If you participate in this ritual, you will enter the Brante blood tide. You, a low-born child, a child who is still a commoner.
Grandpa will love that.
Are you ready to claim your legacy as a descendant of the nobleman Gregor Brante? The eyes of your father and brothers are upon you. Nathan, the youngest brother, will follow your example. You can be certain of this. Oh, he had to like us. We can protect Nathan.
Yeah? From the blood tide.
But we want to be a nobleman because there's more money there.
That's a good point. You make a good point.
Honestly, do we just do as we're told? That's what being a good boy is about, right? Doing what you're told?
Yep. Just following orders.
Yeah.
You always do the right thing that way.
Yeah. You remember that fateful day when you were 8, the day when you tried to choose a different lot for yourself. You violated the ritual in the temple, you kissed the sword, and against all odds you said you had the right to be a nobleman. And now you must confirm this right. You must join the Brante blood tide. You grasp the dagger firmly, then hold the blade to your skin and quickly drag it across your palm. Drops of your blood flow into the duct, flowing further into the crypt as they combine with the blood of your father and brother. The fresh wound burns on your hand. What are you doing, Billiam? Why did you have to take these two along, Father? This ritual is for nobles, and you aren't even noblemen. His eyes meet Father's stern gaze. No one is to interrupt the sacrament. Indignant as he is, Stefan falls silent. You hand the dagger to Nathan. The younger brother hesitates. Father offers him help, but Nathan shakes his head. Finally, he makes the cut, and Nathan's blood joins yours in the duct of the crypt. The deed is done. It is time to close the sarcophagus. The lid falls into place with a heavy, resonant thud. Then suddenly you all freeze as each of you hears your late grandfather speak to you. His voice is loud as it rings in the depths of the crypt, yet he speaks to each of you separately.
So you think yourself my descendant, son of a low-born woman. Very well. Time will tell how much nobility you have within. But know this, I am your ancestor. You are my flesh and blood. I will be watching you always, and my shadow will follow you forever. Do not let me down, boy.
Grandfather's voice falls silent. You glance at your father and brothers, astonished. Save for Stefan, everyone else is dumbfounded as well. The ritual is complete. Stefan reverently kisses the grip of Grandfather's sword and places it in the alcove above the sarcophagus. Once all is done, you leave the crypt forever.
I think
Together.
Stefan heard something different there.
Yeah. Cool, fresh wind blows in your face as you return to the surface. Stefan storms off to the carriage, fuming. Father stops halfway to the carriage and hugs Nathan and you briefly. Now your blood belongs to the dynasty of Sir Gregor Brante as well. All right.
Yes.
Ooh, the poets.
Cool.
Today you and Thomas are to explore the streets of the castle district. You delve into the district right to the old siege walls of Anazot. The city needs these walls no longer. There are no more enemies left for the Empire to fight. Since the twins descended and chose the Tempest dynasty to rule the Empire, it has spread one sea to sea, spreading, bringing its rule and peace for many generations. The two of you gaze in awe at the old charcoal black marks on the former fortress walls. They say magic wielders during the Melanidus rebellion could conjure gusts of fire with their own hands. The rebellious duke fought against the emperor and the church of the twin gods in the days of yore. Days of my what? But nothing remains of his rebellion now save for the scorched ruins and parched land throughout Magra. You and your friends study the old walls and daydream about the battles that took place here during the rebellion, but then you hear a muffled voice coming up from somewhere below the ground. You look around and find a hole in the brickwork where the sounds are coming from. Naturally, you take a peek. You see a half-ruined hall built below the ground and a handful of young men and women standing there in the dark. They look a little bit older than you and are wearing plain shirts and dresses. A young man is standing on a piece of crumbled wall reciting some of his poetry. It tells the story of a nobleman who fell into a puddle thanks to his gaudy cloak, and none of his noble bearing was of any help. He ends it with a farcical bow.
Woo!
You hear applause and laughter.
Yeah!
He gets down from the crumbled wall and a young girl takes his place. You cannot see her face in the darkness, but hers is a voice you could recognize anywhere. It's Gloria. Your sister begins to recite a poem she has written. Nay, Gloria, yours is no proper life. You are to be a mother and wife. Accept the kitchen apron for a gag, and lo, another voice now takes a crack. You're straying from your lot. You've got some nerve. Eyes down and be obedient and serve. Your husband, children, house, they are your absolute. Nay, Gloria, you are but rotten fruit. You lean down to hear her better, but sand and stone fall from under your feet and into the underground hall. Gloria looks up and meets your gaze. Thomas pulls you away from the hole.
Hey, I want to look.
So they're reading poems. Imagine that.
They sure hate nobles, and even Gloria. I never thought your sister could do that. But they're sure gonna get in trouble if they get spotted by an adult. Bad-mouthing a noble will get you flogged into next week, not to mention all the trouble you can get into for writing poems if you're a commoner. You'd better tell your sister to lay off. We'd better stay away from them too. You nod. Being around these people puts Gloria in great danger, but you know your sister. It will not be easy to tell her this. Your adventure in the castle district is done for tonight. You and your friends return home. During dinner, Gloria will not look at you. Her hair is all disheveled. Is she afraid, or is she ashamed? You are also worried sick. These literary gatherings may spell danger for your sister, but for an illegitimate child like her, there are so few ways for her to forge her own path. Dinner is over. Soon you and Gloria are alone at the table. What are you going to tell her? Yes.
Look, there's just no way to make money with poetry. You'll never get a job.
Gloria finally looks at you. You wink at your sister and promise to keep her secret. You praise the poetry you were able to overhear and confess that you were impressed. A big, joyous smile appears on her face. She is so going to get hanged. I'm so happy, brother. I thought you were about to tell me to stop going there and say what Mother says about my lot. But I'm glad you're not like that. Me and my friends, without our poetry, we don't have anything else left. Nothing but our abysmal daily lives. At least we can laugh about it this way. You get serious and tell her that her friends need to work much harder to hide their meetings. After all, the secret passion could end badly for them if they get caught. The best way out of this is to meet in a new place every time. You list off several abandoned places nearby where nobody will look for them. You promise her that if she ever comes close to danger, you will be there to protect her. Gloria nods and plants a kiss of sisterly joy on your cheek.
Hell yeah.
We're enterprising. We're clever.
But we could be inventive.
We could. We should be inventive.
We should be inventive.
Your grandfather's passing and last respects have left a mark on your entire family. His words relayed from the hereafter keep echoing in your mind. You still do your best to avoid the memory of grandfather's last night and spend more time on the city streets with Thomas and your other classmates. The road by the house reminds you of another clash with death. Sometimes as you walk along the road, you recall Sophia, the beautiful girl with the wonderful eyes, and the terrifying thundering hooves. You have not seen Sophia since that fateful day. The children who live nearby say her parents sent her to a rich Arcanian family, the Ottons, as a servant. The sun has set. The pillar shines palely in the dark sky. Thomas is ill, so you decide to visit him and tell him the latest news. The streets seem oddly agitated tonight, full of horses, cloaked men, strange faces, and hushed voices. A young nobleman in a heavy embroidered cloak is walking back and forth, clutching at his sword nervously. There is a grimace of rage on his delicate blue face. He is an Arcanian. You overhear voices. Sir Otton, the girl's not at home. We searched their house. Her parents swear she ran away from home too. They claim they wanted to bring her back. Just do whatever it takes. Turn this loathsome district upside down if you must, but bring my servant back to me. She's here. Sophia ran away from an Arcanian? How can this be? There's only one place on the entire street where a person could hide, the abandoned Morel house, 4 houses away from yours. You head there, doing your best not to attract attention. The lopsided house built of yellow brick has been abandoned for 20 years or so. You remember playing there as a boy. You glimpse a figure inside even before you enter. A pair of eyes glimmer in the dark. You would recognize them even after another 4 years. Sophia has grown up. She's almost an adult now, and her face is full of fear. She's not the easygoing girl next door that you remember. She finally recognizes you. Oh, it's you, Billiam. Be quiet. They're all looking for me. I ran away from the youngest Oton. I might be in for a lesser death here, but I'd rather die than spend another day in their slavery. I'm just a thing to him, just a toy to play with. Sophia winces and closes her mouth as she says this. There's a glint of bright yellow deep in her eyes. I ran to my parents. I told them all about the men I had to serve, and they went and alerted the Ottons. They don't want to be the target of their ire, but you aren't going to tip them off, are you? The barking and shouting are getting closer. Sophia's voice grows quiet. She runs off to the darkest corner of the house before you can answer. One of Otton's servants is so close you can hear his cloak swishing against the ground. He notices something and calls for the others. There are more voices around you now. They approach the house from the yard and surround it. One of them seems particularly snappy, annoyed, and impatient. You have already heard this voice today. If you're in there, girl, you'd be wise to come out and quit wasting my time. All will be forgiven and you will go back to where you were. You know it, and if you don't, I'll drag you out of there by the hair. The hilt of the young Arcanian's sword bashes at the door. He is about to lose his patience for good. Sophia hugs the wall in the dark, trying to stay still. She glances at you. What will you do? Your heart is racing. Can you act against the Arcanian's orders? Do you have the gall to defy the mighty nobleman? I think we just help her leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're just like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know this asshole. Never seen her before in my life.
But what if we try to stop the really powerful dude with the sword? What happens then?
This is going to be so bad. I mean, we can just help her flee, and then we'll be
In
weak
love
and
forever.
feeble-minded.
Yep.
Negative willpower.
It'll
Negative
be great.
willpower.
It'll be great.
A negative willpower as a teenage boy is probably a perfectly fine thing to have. You grab Sophia's hand as you run down the stairs to the old cellar. She resists you at first until she reads your lips. There is a secret way out. You sneak away into the cellar, leading the way. The floorboards groan above your heads as the Archnean and his men search the house, but only children who grew up in this district know that this cellar leads to the neighboring district. You lead Sophia to the hole in the cellar floor and help her squeeze in. There it is, an odd tunnel that leads to a well 2 streets away. None of the children know who dug it, yet you played here and chased each other through it so many times as a lad, and now the secret passage will rescue Sophia from genuine pursuit. Soon you are in the well. There is nothing above you save for a sky full of clouds. Does it play like the Super Mario Brothers underground music as we do 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 do, and then we come out of the pipe? Excuse me while I eat this mushroom I found growing on a sewer pipe and get big. Or the rest of the world just gets small. You wait until you hear no more steps around you, then climb out of the well and help Sophia up. You lead the way to the slums around the Temple District, the easiest place to disappear.
I bet I can destroy those bricks with my fists.
And money came out. A dog in a nearby house starts barking. One of Otin's men appears in front of you. You take a step back as your fingers reach for a brick, ready to defend Sophia no matter the cost. She squeezes your hand and then you hear a high-pitched scream of rage. A flash of yellow light stuns you. In the blink of an eye, Otin's man freezes and collapses, unable to get up. Sophia's eyes are no longer blue. They are yellow now. She lets go of your hand. You recoil in fear. You weren't supposed to see that, Billiam. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, but I won't let them take me. I won't go back to Otin after this. I need to run as far as my legs can take me. Thank you for helping me, and farewell. Sorry folks, we have a hot witch girlfriend.
Oops.
Sophia gives you a gentle kiss on the cheek and disappears down the dark alleyway. You sit there, stunned. Sophia's a witch? Her magic bound Otin's man by the arms and legs. It made him unable to move. You hear Otin's screams of rage and the thumping of his men's feet, but Sophia is long gone. It's a shame that was all you could do for her. I guess we'll never see her again.
Yep.
The runaway girl becomes the talk of your district for an entire week. You overhear that Sophia managed to flee the city. The Otins are furious. After the sudden disappearance, she disappears from your life once more. You will not see her again until much, much later. Well, goodbye forever.
15 years old.
We're in our prime decision-making spot in life. It's very important, like, our brain isn't formed yet and our skull is still soft.
Yeah, it's like the penultimate youth year.
Yeah. Your skull being soft is what allows your brain to get super big. Just the biggest brain.
Yeah.
You're about to turn 15, just one step away from adulthood. Mother is acting anxious at dinner today, barely touching her food. You exchange glances with Gloria. She carefully tells you that she wants to go to the tailor. Mother shudders and her hands clench into fists. No, don't you dare leave home today. I forbid it. That dirty heretic Photis is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Twins willing, I don't want you to hear any of that. You and Gloria exchange glances at one another. Heretic? Heresy? In my town?
I mean, it wasn't on the way to the tailor's before.
But you know, we went to the silver tree to pray.
Yeah.
And then we heard all the heresies.
And now we've got some things to think about.
Yeah. Photis, he is a patriarch, the head of the clergy throughout the entire province. This is the first time you've heard Mother speak like this about a priest, especially such a high-ranking one. Once you leave the dinner table, Gloria comes into your room with a cunning expression on her face, like she's about to play a trick on someone. She has a plan. The two of you should sneak out of the house and go to the silver tree.
That's not a plan!
Okay. The plan would be the how. You've got a what. We've got a what. We need the how. This is not a plan. This is the ends. This is the ends. We need the means. A plan is the means. You simply must hear that sermon for yourself. What's so bad about Patriarch Photis? Why does Mother hate him so much? You two are grown-ups now, basically. Surely you have the right to know. You agree with your sister. Together you sneak out from under Mother's watchful eye and hurry to the silver tree. The temple block is full of people from all ranks and estate. There is barely enough room for you to squeeze through the crowd. The crowd is gathered around the very roots of the tree. Gloria suggests that you climb up to the roof of a nearby building so you can hear and see everything better. And not a moment too soon. From the roof, you see a tall, silver-haired priest step onto the platform by the tree, dressed in the common black robes that look far beneath his rank. Yet he stands like a noble before the crowd. Behind his back is a banner flapping in the wind, the open book. This is the symbol of the new faith, the crowd whispers. The patriarch holds his hands up to the sky, and the entire temple block grows quiet. He begins his sermon, his vibrant voice rolling across the square. Photis speaks of a great mistake. We entrusted ourselves to the lots as the only way to fulfill divine providence in this world. But for all these years, the will of the twins has been interpreted for us by a single man, Prophet Isatius. The twins are ever watching from atop the shining pillar. Of this we have no doubt. But how can we so blindly believe that we will follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Isatius fail again and again to answer the question of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lot in life again and again without being smitten by the divine wrath? Every person born, whether human or Archnean, low-born or noble, must find their lot and their way to the gods on their own. From now on, we will seek the gods in the accounts of their own lives, in their own acts in this world, and their own words as they echo within us. And as we heed the voice of the twins within, we will each find their path for us on our own. The crowd at the silver tree listens to the patriarch's speech in stunned silence. You glance at your sister. Her eyes glisten with tears as she hears Fortis's words. This is just Gnosticism.
It's so beautiful.
This is just Gnosticism. Old content.
No, it's the new faith.
Then suddenly a hoarse cry rises from the crowd. If there are no lots, does that mean the nobles are still going to till the fields and commoners are going to bear arms? The crowd begins to murmur. The patriarch raises an arm and inhales, ready to answer. Hey, that is a good question. An odd figure leaps from the crowd onto the platform. A dirty beggar dressed in rags. A knife flashes in his hands. The blade slices. Blood starts spurting from Photis's throat. He slumps over and collapses. A dark brown puddle spreads across the platform where he had stood. Gloria clutches her mouth to suppress a shriek. Woo! That ruled! A few moments of stunned silence, and then the screams begin. The people are frantic. The temple guards try to restore order in the crowd, but to no avail. An old woman dressed in an inquisitor's cassock tries vainly to apply pressure to the patriarch's wound. The nobles draw their swords. Dogs are barking. The crowd is pushing and shoving. Children are crying. The entire square by the tree is in chaos.
Mass hysteria.
From the roof, you see the moment when people start trampling each other, howling, praying, shouting. Gloria tugs on your sleeve. Time to go. You climb down from the roof and run.
What if we waited for the path to be clear?
Yeah, we're safe up here. You return home without exchanging a word. Mother has been in her room all the while, so no one noticed your absence. Gloria locks herself in her room. You do not discuss the things you have just seen. They are too frightening. But your parents discuss every little detail of the bloodstained sermon over dinner. This is unbelievable. Patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarme and the Archduke's guards have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggar has disappeared without a trace. I can't even imagine a more gruesome crime. Yeah, no, Photis has died a true death, never to return from the hereafter. But how? Why can't the patriarch be reborn? He's so close to the twins. Such is the way of the world, my children. Once you are granted great power by the twins' will, there is no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your deaths. Emperors, their powerful vassals, heads of the great Archnean dynasties, patriarchs of the church, none of them are destined to be reborn.
Dope.
None of them, huh? So we don't even need to spawn camp them?
One and done.
No, nobody would need to spawn camp them. Photis is gone forever. I fear for his soul. I was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him upon the peak of the pillar? We must pray for the patriarch, children. Let us hope he managed to return to the true faith before his moment of passing. But there is little hope for that.
Bum bum bum.
Tomorrow you turn 16. According to Imperial law, you will be a full adult. Your time at Sir Tybor School has ended. You have studied enough to apply for the Imperial College and learn the judge's trade there. You are to travel to Eterna tomorrow. Your friend Thomas will go there with you to try his luck in the Imperial capital. Mother and father prepare you for the long journey. Remember, son, there is only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and fervor to be ennobled by the mantle as I was, and as my late father before me. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one to write the name Brante in the blue book and ensure that your children's children will be noble by birth. Then Mother speaks to you carefully. There is worry in her eyes. But Robert, there may be another path for our son, Stefan. Or for our son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Brante family. Your second son bears the favor of the twins. For him, the path of the priest is a worthy calling, no less than a nobleman's sword.
Pardon, Mother? I know you wanted that for me, but
Maybe we can reform the church from within. That totally works, as we have just seen.
yeah. Lots of support for new voices.
Yeah. They have been arguing about your future for a while now. Still, she would never defy the will of a nobleman and her husband. You smile at them both, trying to placate them. Gloria laughs quietly behind their backs. Just don't become a snoot like Stefan and you'll do just fine. Mother chides Gloria for that. You wink at your sister. Nathan has been downcast all evening. He barely touched his dinner. When everyone gets up from the table, he suddenly rushes over to embrace you. Oh God, it's on us. Please don't go, William. Can't you stay? I don't know what I'm going to do without you. You tussle his hair in response. There is no way you can stay now, you say. But when you come home, and you will come home, you'll tell him all your stories and bring him a special present from Eterna. This is it. All your lessons have been learned. All your things have been packed for the road. You will leave the family home tomorrow. Tonight is your last night at home before your departure. You walk through the rooms one last time. The sitting room where Mother used to read you fairy tales. The library where Gloria used to spend all her time. Father's study, which you entered only on special occasions. The backyard where you taught Nathan to build towers one summer. The whole place feels so familiar, so dear to you. It feels like home. You lived here for 16 years. Will you ever return? It is getting late. Everyone is already in their rooms, but you hesitate. Father, Mother, Gloria, Nathan, it will be a long time before you see them again. Will you spend your last few hours at home? Who will you spend your last few hours at home with?
Gloria? Like, we've got Max Dad.
Yeah, we've maxed out Dad. Dad is
Yeah.
at max. But +2 nobility.
Yeah.
Time. Ooh.
Ooh. That gives us the inventory. The invention.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nathan? Huh.
I like ingenuity.
Yeah. Nathan, get some better stats.
Yeah, God, Nathan.
Jeez.
I do, okay, now that our willpower's in the negatives, I understand a lot more how the mechanic works.
Yeah.
That sometimes you will just be forced into doing something that's kind of dull and weak to score some willpower back.
A little bit.
That
Yeah. Like,
When
a
I was
lot of the
looking at-
thresholds have to be, like, above 0 for the willpower.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading it from the other way, but now this makes a lot more sense to me, and I like this mechanic more. Poor Nathan. Poor what's his name?
The little one.
Yeah, you know,
The huggy
yeah, the thing.
toucher.
Yeah, the baby koala. Indeed, your sister is still awake. She jumps out of her armchair happily the moment she sees you. I'm so happy you're actually here, brother. You know, before you leave, I actually have something to tell you. Gloria takes your hand and leads you to the library. You light a lamp. Gloria pulls out a hefty volume from one of the shelves. Look, this is a history of the noble houses. It's got the story of how humans were first ennobled. I read all of it, and guess what? It didn't happen until after the expansion of the Empire. Apparently, there weren't enough Arcanians for all the land. They just couldn't rule it all by themselves. Arcanians have always treated humans like cattle, but human nobles are even worse. They're just like the paltry copies now, bearing noble titles, wearing gem-studded jackets, bossing others around, and poisoning their lives. They make me sick. Everybody says nobles were born to rule, but if you ask me, I say they're nobodies. There's nothing noble about demeaning others and living off their hard work.
Hey, that's not wrong.
Seize the means of production.
Gloria's growing unusually agitated. You knew she was not exactly fond of nobles, but this is the first time you have heard such burning scorn in her voice. But then Gloria stops herself suddenly and calms down. I just wanted to tell you, brother, you don't actually have to become a noble. If you're a noble, you'll have to follow their rules like Stefan does. You're not like him. I know it. Don't listen to Mother, and definitely don't listen to your father. They just want you to blindly follow them. It's true, Sir Brante spent plenty of money and effort on your education, but a noble title and a judge's rank were his dreams for you, not yours. It's time to think for yourself. Her words spark a dispute. You keep debating into the small hours. Soon you both start reaching into history and politics and morals for material, pulling out library books one by one to prove your points. It turns out Gloria is an excellent debater. All the days and nights she spent in the library have honed her mind and rhetorical skills. The sun is about to rise. You should rest before the long trip, but you are not tired at all. But before you return to your rooms, Gloria locks you in a heartfelt hug. Billiam, please promise me you'll find your own way out there. You nod to her and hug her back, and then she is off. You get into bed, but you cannot sleep. Gloria's words keep you up all night. We are now inventive. You leave the family home for a long time. Your future awaits you in Eterna, the capital of the Empire. Yeah, oh, Gloria is so doomed. She's so doomed.
But I'm pretty sure her poetry career is going to take off.
Yeah.
Her illicit poetry making.
Yeah. Last night was your final night at home. The carriage is now waiting at the gate, ready to take you to the capital. The clip-clopping of the idle hooves against the cobblestones count the seconds before your departure. You take one more look at your parents' house and recall your childhood spent there, in the nearby yards, at your school, and on the winding streets of Anazot. You clashed with the greater world around you and survived. You felt the tingle of emotion for the first time. You were taught by the school and the streets. We learned on the hard streets of Anazot. And that's why you should elect me senator. You explored the city of your birth and learned something of its past. You witnessed first-hand events that will be remembered by history for all time. All of this is yours now, forever.
Everything the light touches.
You saw death, lesser death followed by rebirth, and the true death that takes and never gives back. You saw death lying in wait to strike the unaware like a beast stalking its prey. You saw grandfather's angry grimace lit by the flickering fire of the lamp, the Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and your older brother's bloodied sword slicing through the air. Death has followed you from a very young age. And yet, you live on. You have a friend who has been by your side all these years. Thomas taught you many things: how to take a hit, how to keep your word, and how to remain true to your own self. And now Thomas is walking to the same carriage as you are with a heavy bag slung over his shoulder. Your friend will remain your companion for the time being. Ahead of you is a long trip towards the capital and adulthood. For the first time, you will be away from your family and home. What awaits you in the future? Probably just wall-to-wall triumph.
I think a commercial break is in our future.
That does seem likely. Aren't you supposed to make a noise when I do that? See you soon, chat.
All right, chat, you ready for adulthood?
Yeah, we get to drink now.
College time.
Yeah. Food fight. Look at us. We're ingenious.
So good. Ugh.
Spirituality,
Whatever.
Yeah, less so. Having no willpower at college. We're
Just
gonna
to
party
start.
so hard.
Yeah.
We're gonna party so hard. Look at us. We even have a cool page boy haircut.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
My role in society.
The driver flicks the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts to move away from your home. You stick your head out the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes.
What if all these people were dog people? That would be so much funnier.
I mean, they basically are now. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anazot enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, beauty, size, amenities,
Culture.
sophistication, spring break. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there, and where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Anazot. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you. But they are behind you now, in Anazot. From this point on, only you will decide which road you will take. This is the journey you prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lies many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate, and place in society.
Oh!
Ooh! These are your personal qualities in adulthood, which you will use for the rest of your life. They are the sum of the qualities that you have gained in childhood and adolescence. For most skill checks, you will need a value between 10 and 16. Values 17 to 19 are required for rare and especially difficult choices. The maximum value, 20, only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed.
Make numbers big.
Make numbers big. Ooh.
Eh. But what if we didn't?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ew. Ew.
No toasts.
Ooh.
So we have to get our valor up.
Yeah. Oh, diplomacy is high.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Fencing lessons. Then we can be a stabist.
Yeah. Philippe.
Oh no!
Sacre bleu. Okay. Maybe we can unfuck this somehow.
We just need valor.
Yeah.
I get like 3 points in valor. Surely there will be many opportunities for us to spend our sufficient willpower.
Yes. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Thomas spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from the familiar barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Nobody can tell we're drunk.
Nope.
Nobody can tell when 16-year-olds are drunk. That's just a fact. Adult life feels positively intoxicating.
That's the wine.
That is the wine. Soon we'll be there. And I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted into the military academy. You'll see. And nobody's gonna walk over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you're almost at the end of your long journey. You have left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Archnia. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. Situated at the junction between the Reglata and Tilrina rivers. We're at the junction of livers now.
Well, you see, the planet is God's body. God has multiple livers.
3 majestic stone bridges keep its shores interconnected. Smooth stones pave the main city streets. Gilded moldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Archnean coats of arms and abundant merchants' tents, filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Thomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk by. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You are not even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are the sounds of music and fountains and the smells of baked bread and garbage drains. Then you quickly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun is setting. The streetlights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples in noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You are all alone with the city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age. Their clothes are hand-tailored, and 2 of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. It might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music from a large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems there will be a gathering inside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you'd better get inside quickly. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teachings of Patriarch Photis? You snap out of your reverie when you hear loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colors of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They are making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It is an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly, loud fun doesn't seem half bad. This is your first night in Eterna. No matter what you choose, you will remember it for a long time to come. So I'm assuming running after the students is the willpower choice.
Maybe meeting the youths is
The noble?
valor?
Maybe?
Maybe? I don't think we need to go to the temple. That sounds boring.
Yeah, that seems like... yeah. Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
Our poor eloquence.
Willpower. Willpower. Willpower.
Willpower. It's our first night in town.
Yeah.
Let's turn up.
Hey,
Do kids
we
still
can
say
drink
turn up?
a whole half a bottle of strong wine.
It's true. Or wait, turn down? Oh shit.
Oh, whoa.
What do the kids...
What if we just shut our mouths because we're not very eloquent?
Yeah, because
and
we're
then
dorks. We're a dork.
Just blend in with the crowd.
The students' merriment is infectious. You join their group. They are almost your age, maybe 1 or 2 years older. You see so many faces, and soon you are in a tavern somewhere in the city, getting to know many people at a massive table. So many people, you do not even bother to remember their names now. And the wine, it flows like water. That's not wine.
It could be real frothy.
A lively tune, if your wine is froth, hey. Oh, it's just Prosecco. Okay. A lively tune is playing in the tavern. A girl just a little bit older than you pulls you off your seat to dance. Her dress is unbuttoned a bit more than it is supposed to be. She smells of wine and honey. You copy her motions in the dance as your hand clasps her waist. It slides lower of its own accord. It's moving on its own, senpai. She pulls away suddenly and stares into your eyes and then kisses you on the lips. You are startled at first, but soon you respond to the kiss as you pull her soft, supple body even closer to you. You spend all night dancing, only returning to the table to catch your breath and quench your thirst. The girl keeps embracing you and laughing and pouring even more wine into your glasses. We're gonna get mugged, aren't we?
This is exactly what happens when a noble sees a commoner.
You do not remember returning to the lodging house. Your head and legs are aching in the morning. You can barely remember the names of last night's companions. After some consideration, you choose to remain in bed for the rest of the new day.
Yeah, you sat up, thought about it, vomited into the poop bucket,
Yep.
and then fell back asleep.
Yeah, vomited so hard that the chamber pot actually moved 3 feet. Oh, God.
And now it burns when we pee. What happened? Huh?
You have spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. They are full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walks through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner of the new faith, an open book. It is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Photis on the day of his assassination. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting on a small pedestal depicting a gray-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognize that face, the face of the late Patriarch Photis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak with the coat of arms of the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. He casts a stern gaze over the crowd. I speak to all who live within sight of the shining pillar. Exactly 1 year ago, we lost Photis, Patriarch of the Malgra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Photis was the first to see the books of Isatius for nothing but the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path to the gods in their own hearts instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answer in the lives of the twins in their own hearts rather than the words of priests. Through Patriarch Photis, we were able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy. They are the truth that it used to obscure by Isatius lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamond has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes, Junius Diamond, an Archnian from a great dynasty and the Patriarch of Astinia, has joined the new faith himself, and through this we hope that the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth, and one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. The Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons form a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. You recall the murder of Patriarch Photis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamond joining the new faith is stunning. If an Archnean from a great dynasty has sided with Photis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots. But suddenly several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black with glinting silver on their sides. Inquisitors. They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of the priests rises before the crowd. He is clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. I am Father Ulrich. In the name of the twins and by my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once. Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however, and some even shout angrily, "We want to listen to Luke. He is the Patriarch of Archnia, and he has more to say. Get away from our sermon, old believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots."
Hold on 1 second. Thank you.
Neat. The black-clad Inquisitors descend from the podium and approach the people who chose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the crowd, split it in smaller groups that surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He is a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eye as his lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You are not sure whom to trust, but I teach at the seminary. I have been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know you can hear what I have to say. I see their light in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son? You feel no malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope. It is his lot to aid you, to guide you away from error and set you on the path of true faith. He is a priest, so he should know the truth. Or perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Debate
me, coward. We're going to lose. You start debating the Inquisitor, mustering all your knowledge and awareness of the new faith. The lots are an error introduced by Asatius. They are incorrect, obsolete, and contrary to the way of life of the modern empire. Please hear me out, my son. In these difficult times, people of your estate are the ones most tormented by doubt. Your lot is suffering, but not all of you are ready to suffer. Some turn to guile and cunning to avoid it, and they end up in eternity's embrace at the foot of the pillar.
I've seen it before.
Please understand, your lot requires humility. Suffering is inevitable, and so is doubt. Each of them may temper your soul, yet each may also destroy it. But know this, if you have doubts, you are always welcome at the temple. No priest will turn you away in a moment of weakness. This is why we exist, to fortify faith in the hearts of all people, to bring the word of the twins to those who have gone astray. Know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders. You do not resist this, but rather consider the following. Did the Patriarch speak the truth?
Ignore the giant cudgel that I'm wielding above your head.
You answer that Luke's sermon was far more convincing than Father Jeremiah's words. Everyone blindly heeds the writings of Isaiah, who is but one man who decided that he had the right to define the lives of generations to come. But people have the right to free will, you say. They have the right to choose their destiny and bear the burden of their choice. Father Jeremiah sighs in response. It saddens me to see that you have been led astray so easily. Yet you are young. You should seek to learn the truth on your own. If you truly believe you can interpret the will of the gods, perhaps you should become a priest yourself. If you come to the Divine Seminary and prove you deserve the lot of the clergy, you will be accepted. I teach there, and I am always happy to see students of considerable talent, even if they have been led astray. But for now, you should leave this place. You will learn nothing by facing the champions of faith. With this, Father Jeremiah leaves you and proceeds further. You leave the square freely, your dignity preserved. The remaining people in the square continue arguing with the other inquisitors. Armed champions of faith stand nearby, but they do not intervene. Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen.
We did great.
We did great. You walk back to the lodging house, mulling over Father Jeremiah's words about the seminary. Your family sent you to earn a noble title, but you have an opportunity to become a priest of the old faith or new. If you see your destiny in service to the gods, no one has the right to stand in your way. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons, with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the Patriarch of Archnia himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Archnia, his every sermon adding to the faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamond. Hailing from a great Archnean dynasty, he is the de facto ruler of the Astynia province. Adored by his subjects, he has founded the Holy Order anew. Julius Diamond rarely preaches, but people believe the Astynian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. This schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there has been no direct conflict of yet. Can't you see how this is just dividing us? If we were just united in agreeing that you are property, then...
And you should feel bad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your job.
It was working great. I thought we had a thing. Ooh, our schism score is increasing.
Yes. Now is the order of our discontent.
The next few weeks pass by in hard work in preparation for the coming entrance exam at the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it is high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It is another night, a different night, yet the city is beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the buildings are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Recently, you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of the nobles of the mantle, just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club where you can see the most skilled and ardent duelers in the Emperor doing what they do best. You have never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lessons or that fight in the ruins in Anazot. And if luck favors you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say, a young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. Don't talk about debate club. However, they can take you there as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth.
Ooh.
There are others still drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing, they say? Speeches? Nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Markian Society, a gathering for those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offer pleasures for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of drink, pleasures of the flesh.
That you also eat. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah. Septimus, what is carnal embrace? Carnal embrace is the act of throwing your arms around a side of mutton. Is this not heresy and a crime? Perhaps, and yet some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits into 3 to spend the night as they see fit. What will it be? A contest featuring the best fencers in Eterna? An establishment both mysterious and dangerous? Or an encounter with people who defy their lot with audacity? Your opinions. Dueling Club?
Dueling Club.
Secret Salon?
Dueling Club.
Dueling Club. It's gotta be Dueling Club.
It's gotta be Dueling Club. If we go to Secret Salon and Gloria shows up, we will regret it.
You march down the street towards the Dueling Club, which is located in a manor house decorated rather modestly on the outside but lavishly on the inside. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants and they let you in. The rooms are stuffy, noisy, and filled with tobacco smoke. The sitting room is enormous. In the center is an arena, a circle with wooden railings. 2 young nobles are fighting there already. You take a glass of wine from a servant and watch the fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch.
From a soft chair with a glass of wine, yes.
Yes, yeah, exactly. As soon as the dueler is wounded, the fight ends, but the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a dueler is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirt. The thin fencing sword cuts through the air so quickly you only see glints of flashing steel like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They will come in handy when you earn your own sword. But then a tall Archnean enters the room. He barges in from behind you and leaps into the arena between the 2 fencers, thus ending the duel. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Archnean hails from the great dynasty of Orgriff. The Archnean's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. He sneers smugly. If you consider yourself nobles, then how about you face an Archnean lord in honorable combat? No one moves. No one dares to step forth. A duel with an Archnean is suicide, especially if that Archnean hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or with a true death through trial and execution at worst. Everyone knows punishment for spilling blue blood, and so everyone remains silent. The Archnean grins. So humans are cowards, he says. You'll never be a true noble if you're never ready to risk a lesser death. Then Archnean honor and tradition is not for you, and war is not your domain either, for human nobles are but a mockery, a gathering of animals dressed to resemble higher beings. A man leaps onto the arena. He is tall as a tree. His pockmarked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There are whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Verasti, the owner of the club. He has accepted the challenge for the honor of all human nobles. He has yearned to fight an Archnean all his life. Now is his chance.
Yay, Marth!
The duelers salute each other, and Sir Verasti begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and then another. The young Archnean deflects each attack like he knows his opponent's every move. Sir Verasti's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Archnean deflects his sword and rips the weapon out of the human's hands. Marth Verasti looks at the Archnean in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of his defeat. The Orgriff youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his defeated opponent. It bears 3 black marks of lesser death. Now the young Archnean eyes Sir Verasti with a mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the poor overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Verasti shudders. He asks the Orgriff youth to be so kind as to spare his life, nobleman to a nobleman. The Archnean's face grows dark and grim. His sword stabs deep into Verasti's chest. Then the Orgriff youth speaks, loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in this hall, he says, and everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed and leave this place, never to return. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave with quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Archnean openly. The noble gatherings disperse outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Archneans stand far above humans. They do not care if you are a commoner or a high-ranking noble. In their eyes, you are only a human. It seems there is nothing that can readily oppose Archnean power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them at best. The trip to the dueling club ended on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching Eterna's best duelers in action. You recall their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than the master of the dueling club being murdered in cold blood.
Selective memory.
Yeah. It's important to us. You are on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entrance exams. It is right next to the college. The streets are full of people. Everybody is excited. You hesitate for a few seconds, then let your curiosity get the better of you and head towards the place where you will soon study. Before long, you hear the shouting. The great chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the empire. You cannot possibly miss this. You mix with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what is about to unfold. On the steps of the college, you see a small tribune guarded by 2 Archneans armed with swords. This is the first time you have ever seen an Archnean standing guard, let alone 2 of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Archnean surrounded by an honor guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempest, great chancellor of the empire, younger brother to the emperor himself. He stands for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It is full of people in awe and utter silence. Long ago, humans witnessed the Archneans' arrival. The 2 nations built the empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Archnean Empire. Yet there was another great event long before that. 1,000 years ago, the twins had graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love and their law, and they granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the empire, and from that day forth our dynasty has ruled this land, ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins not to seek power for power's sake, but rather to lead the empire to further prosperity. And so the great Imperial Council is soon to review and adopt a new set of laws called the Creed. Under the Creed, all estates will be granted rights. Under the Creed, there will be one law for all Imperial citizens to obey, human or Archnean, from the lowliest commoner to the Emperor himself. The strife among estates will end. A single law will resolve all our quarrels. Glory to the Empire!
Keytar Cat, are we sure Archneans aren't just humans? I mean, I like to imagine them getting into the bathroom every day to blue themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they emerge and say, "Behold, I blew myself."
Yeah.
The great chancellor throws his arms into the air. The crowd murmurs and applauds in approval. Cornelius Tempest casts another look over the crowd and leaves. The crowd disperses. The sounds of agitated discussions are everywhere. Is it true that the Emperor's dynasty seeks to grant rights equal to all the states? What will happen to the Empire then? Huh? What then? Power +2. Oh my god, we're charging up. The girl from your past. It is early morning. You have been awake since sunrise studying. There is a knock at the door. Is it a letter from home or a hotel servant? You open the door and freeze, stunned. Hello, Brante. Before you stands Sophia, the girl who used to live next door. She is all grown up now. She looks so different, but you would always recognize those blue eyes no matter what.
Unless they were yellow.
Unless they were yellow. You gesture for her to come in. Sophia enters the room, glances around, and sits in an armchair. You eye the girl you used to know as you sit across from her. But the young woman you see now has little in common with the girl you used to know. There is cold steel in the way she looks at things. Her hair is cut short. But what is she doing here? I can explain. I've been living in Eterna for a long time now, ever since I ran from Anazot. I heard the other day that you'd left for the capital to get into the college, so I found you, and here I am. You ask how Sophia learned about your arrival and where you are staying, but she answers your questions with an enigmatic smile. We'll get to that later. Right now I want to see how much you've changed since we last saw each other. As for me, I've changed a lot. I'm a whole different person now.
She's been lifting.
You look away as you recall your previous encounter back when Sophia ran away from her Archnean master. Sophia chuckles as she continues. Would you like to know what happened next? I traveled through the entire empire all alone. I had nothing. My journey ended only when I reached this place, the capital, with all its important people and events. This is the heart of the empire. It's a place where I can make a difference. I've made friends here, found people I can truly call my family. I've even gotten an education of sorts, and I have a purpose now. I fight against injustice. I fight against the lots. I fight to those who treat our lives like mud on the pavement. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that. I came to you for a good reason. I need help. I know you. I have faith in your good heart. And besides, this is also about the Imperial College you want to enroll in. Ooh, is she Batman?
There's a scholar there by the name of Bartholomew Dextra. He teaches natural sciences at the college. Dextra is an old man, but he's quite oh my god.
He'll stop at nothing to advance science and acquire new knowledge. As you know, only second-generation nobles or above are allowed to teach at college, but Dextra, he's a commoner. He forged his patent of nobility to get a position at the college. But the secret chancellery recently learned of this. Dextra is about to face true death for this forgery. But how is that justice? A man wants to teach people, and for this, they're going to take all his lives. They're going to punish him for the crime, being born in the wrong estate. It's evil and obscene. I will not stand for it. Dextra deserves to be rescued.
But I don't want to put anyone in danger, so I need your help. You're from a rich family. You're almost a noble. If you help me get Dextra out of the city, nobody will suspect anything. No one will know, and the scholar will live on to continue his research elsewhere, far away from the secret chancellery. Will you help me?
You feel perplexed by Sophia's sudden request. She is asking you to break Imperial law and undermine the work of the secret chancellery to save the scholar. Rescuing Dextra would be an adventure, but it would also be incredibly dangerous. And besides, Dextra's just a fake noble. He resorted to lies and deceit to get his current position. How much does this matter to you? Sophia's blue eyes are studying you, waiting for your reply.
Oh, we can't assuage our guilt.
But I love to assuage my guilt.
Oh.
Ooh.
Valor.
Valor.
Oh.
Valor.
Oh.
Valor. Or refuse.
Valor.
Valor. Also valor.
Hmm.
But scheming.
Goes up to 3, and not equals merciless. Yes.
Fine.
A secret plot?
You promised to help Sophia. Bartholomew Dextra does not deserve this. He has to leave the capital. She can count on you.
I knew I could count on you. Then we must act at once. There's no time to waste. Dextra is to be arrested tomorrow. Here's his address. Go there as soon as the sun sets. No one will suspect you. Dextra often tutors young men for the college entrance exams. Tell me, do you bleed?
Do I do what?
Bleed.
I can't understand.
Bleed, Clark. Do you bleed?
Bruce, you know I can't understand when you do the voice. Bleed, Clark, do you bleed? Oh, bleed. No. I've never experienced pain in my life.
Tell him the owl sent you. Use the back door to get out. A carriage will drive up to the backyard. The driver will hoot like an owl.
This plan sucks.
He'll take you to the south gate. If the guards stop the carriage, just talk your way out of it.
Oh, okay.
We're great at that.
Yeah, we're so fucking eloquent.
Once you're outside the city, Dexter will ride away in a different carriage. You'll go back the way you came. I'll meet you in Majesty Square.
We're so going to die. We're fucking toast. Oh shit. Oh shit. You nod to her words and your hands start to shake. You're about to go against the secret chancellery. You're going to help someone escape punishment. To defy your own law like this, it's unthinkable. When the sun sets, you leave the lodging house and walk quickly, glancing over your shoulder repeatedly. Bartholomew Dexter's house must be somewhere around here. You find the place. A genteel old man opens the door. His face is covered in wrinkles, his shoulders are stooped, and yet his eyes are sharp and lively. Bartholomew Dexter looks at you for a moment, then asks you why you have paid him a visit. You tell him you want to enroll in the college and you are looking for a tutor. Dexter nods and invites you inside. Once you make sure nobody else can see or hear you, you whisper to the scholar about the real reason for your visit. The secret chancellery will be coming for him tomorrow, and he has to leave now to escape true death. Dexter freezes, then turns to you. How do you know about him and the secret chancellery? You tell him the owl sent you and has provided for his escape. As for the secret chancellery, they want him for forging a patent of nobility. The moment you utter Sophia's name, the lecturer calms down and starts packing for the journey. You watch him distractedly and notice that he lives in a rather austere fashion. It does not take him long to pack. You hear the quiet clacking of hooves in the yard. Carefully, you and Dexter proceed to the backyard of the building. You see a carriage there. The driver hoots quietly. You get in. The carriage rolls down the road. There is tense silence in the closed-off space inside the carriage. The scholar wrings his hands anxiously. Through the carriage windows, you see the massive city gate passing by. You are almost outside the city, but then a loud voice reaches you. Halt! The driver obediently halts the carriage. 2 city gendarmes approach you. You leave the carriage to face the gendarme before they can get a peek inside the carriage. They look you over and ask you where you are going so late at night. You tell them you are the son of a judge in Magra, here to enroll in the college, and right now you wish to visit the estate of a newfound friend. To convince them further, you mention the name of a noble son you have become friendly with. The gendarme release the carriage and wish you a pleasant trip. Sorry, I'm going out to drink. Oh.
I met a guy, I don't remember his name, but he's here locally. Just a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna shotgun some brews, listen to some metal, hang out in a basement. You drive along the high road until you encounter a peasant wagon. Dexter will take it to seek refuge far away from the capital. Before the two of you part ways, oh God. He pats you on the shoulder and tells you that you have done a truly brave deed. You return to the city without incident. You find Sophia in Majesty Square as you agreed, sitting on a bench by a streetlight, reading a book of some sort. Oh, nerd. She closes the book when she sees you and offers you her hand.
So, did everything go according to plan?
You nod.
Then we've earned ourselves a bit of free time. Let's go.
You set off on a walk through the maze of narrow back streets. Finally, you have some time for questions. What happened to Sophia over the last 2 years? She was just a girl before a servant. How is she now a revolutionary? Sophia just smiles sadly.
You've seen what I can do. I'm not just a girl. The Inquisition caught up with me when I ran away from Ansat. I ended up in the House of Humility, a dreadful place. I got collared. Do you know how it feels to lose your free will? Losing everything that makes you, you?
She unclasps the tall shirt collar that had been hiding her neck all this time, and you see the round mark from an anti-magic collar.
They say a scar like this will remain even after a lesser death, but I got lucky. Patriarch Junius Diamond saved me. Diamond took me and the other mages from the House of Humility and removed our collars. He made me one of his attendants. He taught me that there are no lots. He told me that I'm like this not because I'm a freak, but because it's my nature. He told me I can find a path to the twins like anyone else in the world. And then I was taken. I got out on my own. I found my own lot, to protect the common people from the noble yoke, to help others who are as unlucky as I am, to fight for a different world, a world where everyone has equal rights, a world where mages don't get robbed of their will just because one aspect of their birth, a world where the nobles no longer tread upon the commoners. Yes, this is our dream, but we are still so far away from it. But I will keep moving towards it, and I'll stop at nothing.
I am the knight.
A strange, distorted expression appears on Sophia's face, but she quickly returns to normal. You keep walking until you are at your lodging house again. For a moment, you just stand there looking at each other. Then suddenly, Sophia embraces you. For a moment, she remains still in your arms and whispers,
You should join my cause. If we work together, one day we'll become a force to be reckoned with. I know you came here to find your way, but I'll never believe you really want to bind yourself to other people's laws and desires for the rest of your life. The path I walk is dangerous. It's almost hopeless, but it's worth living for. Think about it. Goodbye.
Then she disappeared in shadows.
Then she withdraws just as quickly and disappears in the dark streets of Eterna. You make your way back to your room, exhausted by the events of the day. Was this really just a single day in your life? Oh, she's sympathetic towards us.
Yeah.
Ooh, we can now pass scheming checks.
Ooh.
And we're still
Weak in battle.
Weak in battle.
But we could be mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre. Ooh, criminal mastermind at the top.
But frankly, all of this has to wait for next time.
It does. Oh,
I
poo.
will never forget that day. For it was then that I chose the path I would walk for the rest of my life.
Walked a lonely road, only road I have ever rode.
All right, let's call it here for this week.
Are we into continuing?
I think so.
Sweet.
I'm enjoying this, and I want to see where it goes. Surely we will get a happy ending. Surely.
Don't call me Shirley.
Gloria's going to be our best friend or our best man at our wedding to our weird witch girlfriend.
And no beggars are gonna be jumping up and stabbing us.
Nope, not even one.
Alright, let's see if this works. Can I do the up next? No, not on this screen. Boof.
Boof. Oh, there's
see if you can
noping.
try to pronounce this. Yeah, there's noping.
Phobia. Saint Dinfna. Saint Street Dinfna. Maybe it's actually in Cyrillic. Saint Dip.
Look forward to that in roughly half an hour. What? Yeah.
Ooh, on AFK, more Warhammer kill
Yeah.
team.
Looks like Jacob and Ben are gonna go at it with some equipment for some match play.
Watch us play with our dolls in our doll houses. On Lermatig, we're probably playing Magic. Oh, what's Ian got this week?
He's building his Gundam Valkyrie, and he's planning to airbrush it.
Nice.
Hopefully red.
Oh, dear God in heaven.
Yep, that's checkpoint. Plus,
The second almond slice is always free.
paper might be happening on Friday. Friday might be more magic.
Probably more magic, yes.
Then on Sunday, Toho Spell Bubble for Rhythm Cafe. And more anime on Is This Your Card?
The Idle Animations game.
So, it's got some hefty characters that do battle.
I understand the gameplay is ample.
Bodacious. Why?
Well, Vingris, thank you for this 35-month resub.
Space Potato! Welcome back.
The Wonko for 59 months, thank you.
Rain2123, 31 months.
A Bored Barista for 44 months.
Superhero of Fae, 41 months.
Philemon, 57 months.
Robot Bones.
And Venome, gifting 1 sub.
And Spoaten.
Spobbin.
Sabobin.
And thank you for 100 bits, LK.
The bits. See ya.
Bye-bye.